Welcome to another episode of Cyrus's podcast. Today we have one of my best friends in the whole world, right? Molly Branson Worden.
Nice. Nailed it.
Nailed it. I am so excited to have you on the podcast today. And I'm excited that you made time because we're here for another conference and we just came to decide so that we could do this. So Thank you so much.
No problem. Of course.
So I want to share a little bit about like your story about like how you got, you're in real estate, you crush it in real estate, first of all, and you crush it also on like the investing side. I know that you don't really like talk about it all the time, but so what I want to talk about is a little bit about like how did you end up in real estate and then kind of go from there. So like what got you into real estate in the first place?
Yeah. Everybody has a story of how they got into real estate. And mine isn't too dissimilar from a lot of people. It's just, I graduated college, I had a ton of student debt, and I was actually going to go into nursing school. And I was looking at, the accelerated programs and how much more money that was going to cost.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I can bear that,
Yeah.
So instead I decided to waitress, save up money.
Okay.
And then dove into real estate.
Wait, but what was like, did you like what actually got you into real estate? Like, okay, cool, you were going to do the nursing, you got into
Yep.
like, what actually got you into real estate?
It might sound so lame, but honestly, like, I loved going to open houses as a little kid. And so like, for some reason, I was just thinking, I was like stressed out, couldn't sleep one night. I was just like thinking through different options because I'd been telling everyone that I was going to go into nursing.
Yeah.
So that was the plan, and then I just like remembered going to like open houses with my dad growing up and be like, that was really fun. I was like, wait, like real estate's a career.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe I should look into that. And then, realize that it's a super easy course, simple enough.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So you had said like you had told everybody you were getting into nursing. Did you have like a slight identity crisis there?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Because I was so proud that I had a plan like after college, because not everybody does. And like, that's okay. But I was like proud of myself for like having a set plan.
Yeah.
But then I realized that the plan wasn't great. So did a 180 and I was super nervous about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it worked out.
But so like when you did that, what was going through your mind when you were making those decisions?
I knew that no matter what the decision was, like everything was going to be on me, obviously, like the student loans for the nursing side of things or having no income at all doing real estate.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just kind of wanted to like take a chance on myself instead of doing like a standard thing that a lot of people said, like, hey, Molly, you'd be really good at nursing. Because I'd be asking a lot of people, seeking advice. And like, that was kind of, I know that like nursing is one of the most difficult jobs.
Yeah.
But to me, it was also one of the more like safe bets that I could take because it was such a steady job. And so when I told people, I was like, I'm actually going to the real estate, they're like, oh, like, why? Are you sure? And then, of course, like my first year in real estate was also awful, like just income wise. And I was like, did I make a huge mistake? Yeah.
That's an interesting thought process though, because I haven't heard anybody say that before where you were like, hey, should I go to nursing school and take on all this debt or become a real estate agent and have no guaranteed income?
Right, exactly.
Which is kind of like, you're kind of the same thing because when you take on all the debt, you're going to have to pay the debt back anyways.
Yep.
Right? So that's interesting. So you decided I'm going to get into real estate.
Yep.
And you said it, you were in your first year.
Yeah.
And it didn't go well.
No.
So what was going through your mind at that point? Like, it's not going well. You're 12 months in.
Yeah.
Like, what were you were saying? You were like, oh my gosh, did I make the wrong decision?
Definitely. What's interesting? I still didn't doubt that I wasn't like doing the right career because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I was excited to like learn things every single day, go into the office every single day, meet new people. But things just weren't really hitting at first.
Yeah.
And even like I tried doing my taxes and the accountant was like, ma'am, like you don't have to do taxes. You didn't make any money. I was like, shoot. I was like literally off like my saved income from like.
You just knew you had to do taxes.
Yeah,
so
I was like, do I have to do something here? Because he's like, no, you're good.
You're good? Oh wow.
Yeah.
You know what's really interesting is like I want to make sure that I preface this. Like, I met Molly because you are 30 under 30 as well.
Yep.
And we met because, what year were you 30 under 30?
I think I was 21.
21,
20, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So a year after I won 30 under 30 or whatnot, right? I got the honor of 30 under 30. Molly did, and that's how we actually met. So it's really cool to see where you started, where you're like a year in, you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even have to do taxes. I didn't make enough money. To where you're at now, you've had a huge growth cycle. So like, what did you do? Did you change anything after that first year that like helped kick it forward? What did you do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my first year, I was on a team actually.
Okay. You were on a team your first year?
I was on a team first year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I just found myself staging for them a lot, which, definitely built a great skill set, but not really on the sales side. And then their big focus was also making sure you had a blog and making sure you like updated that blog. So creating like your own URL.
Yeah.
Mine was like realonrealestate.com. Shamefully embarrassing. But like I spent so much time on that. Like I would stop by neighborhoods, take pictures, upload so much stuff, and then try to pay for some ads for my blog on Google. And what I realized was, and the team that I was on, they crushed it with their website,
Yeah. So they were teaching you what they knew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then I started, kind of going on my own, hosting open houses. And I realized that like I had spent so much time behind the keys of like a keyboard.
Yep.
And my real skill was in front of people.
Yeah.
Talking to people on the phone and, just communicating face to face. And that's when I started finally getting some traction. I was like, wow, see ya, realonrealestate.com. I'm no longer doing that. That was a horrible waste of time, but
I think that's so important though to understand because like so many people, they try to do like something and they try to do all these things. And if they're not like lean into what you're really good at.
Totally. It's hard to know what you're really good at. Yeah.
And so, and you learned what you were really good at because you just tried new things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So as a new agent, what would you give like advice-wise if they're struggling as a new agent?
I think exactly what we were just saying. Like you got to try different routes. Like I feel like so many people get tunnel vision on like, okay, I'm going to be like social media guru.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important. But if it's not hitting and you've been doing it for months and months, you got to explore different options, whether it's like joining different local community organizations or hosting open houses or door knocking. Like
open houses are like one of the easiest lead sources, like
because you can practice dialogue too. My first open house, I was so awkward. It was horrible. I think I scared everybody. I didn't know anything about the house. I didn't know where I was in DC. And they're like, "Where's the closest grocery store?" And I was like, "Let me look that up for you." They're like, "What?"
It's around,
ma'am. Yeah, it was. No, but I mean, it gets easier. And you learn your mistakes. You stumble as you go, and then then you start.
So, what kept you going when you were like struggling with your business? Like, why did you keep going rather than like just deciding, hey, I'm done. I'm going to go become a nurse.
I think it was just the excitement of like, because I would go to the office all the time. And everyone I met at the office, I loved. And I also got to see other agents really crushing it. And that just made me really excited. Yeah. So I just like really wanted to be like them. And I knew I could do it. I just had to figure out, get my stride. And everybody always says like, when it rains, it pours, so I needed like open up those floodgates, but I was like, why aren't these gates breaking open yet? Yeah. But, I think it was just the overall, seeing the people at the top and being like, wow, I really like them. And I had like role models that I could look up to.
I love that.
Yeah.
So did you have a lot of mentors or like people that were helping you through it?
For sure. Like, I think after like that first team experience, like no hard feelings to them. It just wasn't the right fit personality wise. I was solo for a while, and then I met this one agent, and James Kastner, and knew he was like the best at marketing in our office. And so I just tried helping him out in every way I could, whether it's like attending meetings and taking notes for him, holding any open house. He's like, can you do Saturday and Sunday? And I was like, and I'll do Thursday happy hour. Like, no problem. Got it. And because of that, he really like took me under his wing and showed me the development side of things too.
That's awesome.
And then we teamed up and like things kind of really took off from there.
Wow, that's interesting. So what you did was you went and you found someone that's crushing it. Mm-hmm. And you went and you followed that person around. You took notes for them. You did all the stuff that they didn't want to do.
Right. That's the key. Is like, because I've had people be like, can I shadow you? And I'm like, sure. But you got to think when you're at meetings and you have someone just like standing there, sometimes, at least for me, it made things interacting like a little bit more difficult with the client. So it's like, if you are taking notes, if you are doing something that benefits the person that you're trying to learn from, like that makes a world of a difference.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I have people every single day that ask me to shadow or things like that. And it's like, I would love for somebody to come with me every day.
Definitely.
But the reality is like it can't.
And our schedules are weird.
Exactly.
Like,
And so it's very interesting to see, like, because that's honestly one of my agents who started as my assistant, who started as just coming and showing up, right? So he kind of built in through all of this where, like, he literally called me. Actually, it was really funny. He DM'd me one day. And then I'm like, okay, great, another agent, you know, like yada, yada, yada. I'm like, all right, cool, you know, and he's like, yeah, I really want to learn from you and shadow you. I'm like, all right, cool, like, you know, we can probably set something up sometime. Then he kept hitting me up. Probably shouldn't say this because then everybody's just going to nonstop message me.
You said that a couple times today.
I know, I did. Earlier at lunch, I said the same thing. Well, but then he ended up like messaging me again. I set up a meeting with him eventually. I mean, this was probably a year after the first time that he messaged me.
Okay.
Like, this is how consistent he was, right?
It's impressive.
Which is impressive, which is why I'm like, okay, this guy might be able to be an actual agent.
Right.
Because, like, real estate, that's what it's like.
You got to follow up.
We just opened escrow on a property. Someone we met 3 years ago, almost to the day, and we barely opened escrow today, or like the other day, like last week.
Right.
You know, so like that's the business.
Yeah.
So when he kept messaging, like just consistently like messaging, I'm like, okay, maybe he could do something. So I'm like, yeah, let's set up a call. And then I told my assistant, set up a call. And then he came over and then he set up a call. And then I was like, all right, cool. Like, he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Let's set up a coffee meeting, right? Set up a coffee meeting, fast forward. Long story short, he started helping me with anything that I needed. Now he's crushing it, doing real estate and yada, 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 which is really cool, right? But my point being is that he came from a point of contribution.
Yeah.
Because if he hadn't, it wouldn't have been as easy for me to implement him to help. Definitely. Which it sounds like that's what you did as well.
For sure.
And a lot of successful people, that's how you find your mentor, right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you have to go put in the time before anything else comes. But on the flip side, it's your college education.
Right.
Right? Like, you're either going to go pay thousands of dollars to become...
Which I did, and then end up doing this anyway.
Exactly. But, you know, like, even if you're going to go to nursing school, you're going to go pay thousands and thousands of dollars to become a nurse, or you're going to go spend time with people that are very successful in the business.
Right. And
you did that. You followed someone that was very successful in business.
Yeah.
You learned what they did, and then you put your own twist on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's really interesting. So you basically did that. You went, you followed him around, you took notes, you did that, you teamed up on some things.
Yep.
And then what?
So actually what's kind of interesting about that story is one of his best friends fell like terminally ill.
Oh my God.
And so he had to essentially move to California.
Wow.
Yeah. And like at this point, he was like one of my best friends. And I knew that like he's a workaholic, he's a control freak. It's kind of where I got a little bit of it too. And I knew how hard that was gonna be. So like I called him, I was like, whatever you need, like go be with your friend. I got your back. Like not even talking about like splits or like what am I gonna be pulled in on this deal? You know, just like, hey, I got you. Like this is crazy.
Which makes you special, which is very important because
and we have
that's
that dynamic.
But that's also what it's about.
Totally. It's being there for someone you care about.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
That's what life's about in general.
Yes.
So like, why can't we do that with our business?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because he trusted me with like talking to these developers that I've been shadowing him with. And then I had like my first 12-unit listing, and then it was like a 13-unit listing. And then it was just like kind of spiraled from there. And he like still mentors me, of course. Like he's kind of in real estate, not really anymore. But because of his friend, unfortunately passing away, it took like almost a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was able to help him get through that and still maintain and grow his business while he was gone.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Then he moved like to the Netherlands, and I like essentially sold the team to me.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And now you're here.
Now here.
So you went from literally taking notes for free. This is I didn't know this.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you went from taking notes for free,
yeah.
to literally owning the company that he was running.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
That is amazing. Are you kidding me? That is so cool.
Just a little scribe, and then
to running the company, to literally owning the company.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Wow.
Thanks.
Great job, Molly.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, so then now you own the team, you're rocking and rolling, you're crushing it. You also, I know you and your sister invest in properties together, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that. What brought you to go and buy your first property and then kind of go from there?
Definitely. I mean, it was from working with some of those investors and developers that I met through James, my old teammate. And, I had to check out so many properties with them. And I just remember, having to analyze the deals for them. Is this going to cash flow? And just kind of breaking it down. I was like, why am I not doing this? I should definitely I didn't know my own house at that point. You know what I mean? So I was kind of decided to take initiative and buy my own house in DC. And it was super scary.
Yeah,
so I was like, Susie, my sister, I was like, you want to help me with this? I don't want to do this alone. And so we bought it together.
Okay.
And, renovated it and lost money on the first 2 years. And it was such a learning experience. But then we also restructured the house.
Yeah.
And now it's one of our best properties.
So rewind. So you bought the property for yourself to live in, or an investment property first?
So investment property first.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I was still renting.
Yeah.
Because I knew the place where I wanted to live, I couldn't afford there yet.
Yep.
And I really do think your first place you buy, it doesn't have to be the place where you want to live.
Correct.
Or anything along those lines. It's just just get in the game of real estate.
Yep.
So we decided to jump into that together.
That's awesome.
And then 1 year later, bought a 4-unit together. And then also Mikey and I, my husband, we invest in some real estate together as well. And now it's just kind of
that's
trying
so
to
awesome.
keep it rolling.
That's it. Step by step.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing because you like we said, it's literally step by step, right? You've gone from, again, taking notes. This is really cool, to owning the company, to going and practicing what you preach.
Yeah.
Which is really powerful. And I think it's really powerful to do that with your family and the people that you love the most.
I agree, because there's that trust there,
Yeah, it's the trust, and also who better to do it with than if you're going to have your best friends and your best people.
I agree, because you go up together, Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
So that's so cool. So now you've been investing, like you said, you're going to keep it going, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
What's next for Molly?
The next thing I'm really excited about, and actually Sam Medvine gave me this idea, is my husband and I, we bought a house in Petworth. It's a neighborhood in DC, in a zone. And I always had this idea, but I was kind of, again, too scared to implement it.
Yeah.
But buying in a zone where the lot size is big enough where you can take a townhouse and turn it into 3 condos.
Yep.
So Mikey and I are living there right now. So it's our primary residence. I did 5% down. And I'm going through all the permitting process right now. So I'm saving all of that overhead cost, and the plan is to kind of convert that and sell. And we
That's
already
awesome.
bought the next one on the big lot in the right zone. And we're moving into that once we start
do the same
construction.
thing.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
That is super exciting.
Super nervous. I already told Mikey so many times, I'm I'm so sorry if I lose all of our money, but yeah.
But if I don't,
then you're going to be super happy.
worth it.
Exactly. He's all right.
Yeah, but also you're very good at what you do. So it's it's one of those things where it's sometimes I say the same thing because I'm oh my gosh, I'm taking this gamble, but at the same time, it's not a gamble when you have such knowledge behind it that you know exactly what you're doing and how to do it.
Totally.
And how to execute on it.
That was the other thing is I helped these developers with all their condo conversions, and I was like, can I do this too?
Yeah, of course.
And then talking to Sam, and Sam's like, yeah, that's what I do. And I was like, what? We can do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing I'm most excited for.
Sometimes it's that I feel sometimes we don't realize the power that we have and that we're able to do these things.
Yeah.
Where people are doing them and they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing that they're doing them. But the reality is you can execute on them too if you put the right plan together.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it's going to be scary every single time.
Yeah.
Every time. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like so stoked because I really didn't know that part about what you do. So, okay, so you have your team, you're invested in real estate, you're buying more, your condo conversions.
Yep.
Now, again, if you had one piece of advice for anyone starting a business, or getting into business, or into real estate, whatever, what advice would you give them?
I think it would be, don't underestimate the value of your network, because I think a lot of people, especially sometimes like entrepreneurs, they're like, I got this, I put everything on my own shoulders, carry the team on my back. But it's really important to, continually grow connections with people, like certain people, not like everybody, obviously.
Yeah.
But you learn the most from others.
Yeah.
So I think always like be humble enough to always ask for help.
I love that.
And like grow from,
and it's like a super big hack. Like, are you kidding me? Like, people have been where you want to go.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't you ask them? Like, you don't need to struggle most of the time. Like, you're struggling because you don't want to go and ask them for help.
Exactly. And I think there was some like nervousness about talking to people that were like so much higher up and so much better than me. But what I've learned, majority of the time, not all the time, people love to share and like feel good about like being at the point in their own lives where they can, be the mentor, so,
And if they're not, like, they're probably not your people.
Then they're not, and that's fine.
And then you just keep moving forward.
I just unfollow them and move forward. No,
you never talk to them again. And then,
no.
No, but like, that's the truth. Like I have some people that I've asked for advice and they don't, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I understand, that's cool.
All good. You're busy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Like, I'll just keep moving forward, right? And I think that that's so important, though. And what you said is like letting go of that ego, being humble, and just being like, hey, I need help. Do you know how to do this?
Right.
And like I said, there's people that have been where you want to be.
Totally.
So why not just ask them for the advice?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Molly, for being on today. I appreciate you making time.
Of course.
Thank you. And tell the audience where to find you if they want to connect with you.
Great. I think the best place is probably Instagram.
Okay.
Molly Branson Realtor.
How do you spell it?
MOLLYBRANSONREALTOR. Whew.
Got it.
Got it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Give Molly a follow. I appreciate you, Molly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is fun.